Hey, this is the Big Hardcore Gamer, and I've been playing the early access Gears of War E-Day beta. Now, I haven't pre-ordered the game yet, so I've been playing on PC Game Pass. Now, I'm not as good at the versus multiplayer as I think I used to be, but it still managed to keep me hooked over the weekend, and I've mostly been having a good time. But as you know, there have been some changes to the game, some for the better and some were unnecessary. So I thought I'd do a quick first impressions video with my thoughts of the beta, as someone who has played every mainline Gears game in the series. Please watch until the end of the video, leave it a like, and also subscribe if you're new to the channel, and check out some other content. Right, let's get into it. First, let's talk about the movement. The biggest complaint I've seen in the comments from my YouTube shorts are about the movement, because they removed the roadie run. Now, I actually don't have any issue with this. You're no longer locked into a path until you decide to break out of it, with the roadie run, and you have more freedom to move in any direction like you would in any other third-person shooter. This is something I used to see non-Gears players complain about, so removing it is to attract more players. It did take a little getting used to, and I'm sure you used to have to hold down a button on the controller to run, but now you just push down on the left analog stick, which is much better. See, I've been using keyboard and mouse since Gears of War 4, but I still add a little muscle memory when I picked up the Xbox controller, and I kept trying to run when pressing down the A button. You can still wall bounce, but sliding has also been added. Sliding feels a little inconsistent. Sometimes I'm rolling when I want to slide, and sometimes I'm sliding when I want to roll. There are some small gaps on lower parts of some walls that you can slide through when running, but using sliding in the combat is going to take a little practice, a little getting used to. You actually feel more weighty as you're moving around, which I actually liked. You can also climb over walls now. I remember seeing this in the trailer for the campaign mode, and I thought it was pointless, but in multiplayer it actually works out well. I've used it a few times to get into position quicker when playing Conquest. And you can mantle over cover as well, but this isn't new. What I didn't like is that they removed the mantle kick that was in previous games. This is where if someone is on the other side of the cover, mantling would knock them back, and this is something that was introduced in either Gears of War 2 or 3, but I'll get back to this later. I like the new Conquest mode. This is basically like King of the Hill from previous games, but with a small difference. You have to stay in the area long enough to lock it down, and then it moves on to the next one. Whichever team locks down 4 areas will win the match. This creates some opportunities for each team to make a comeback, and I had a couple matches where this happened. They only add Conquest and Team Deathmatch with 2 maps in the first weekend of the beta, but I hope they add some more maps and modes to the second weekend, with more weapons to try out. I mentioned earlier that I've been using keyboard and mouse since Gears of War 4 on PC, and that's just because it actually felt a lot better, a lot easier than with the controller. With this beta, it just didn't feel right to me, so I went back to the controller. I was actually surprised just how much smoother it felt, but this is probably because of the improvements to movement that they've made. I even plugged in the DualSense controller, and the buttons were fully mapped, which I was surprised about. There is an option for using adaptive triggers, but I would recommend turning that off in multiplayer, because it just slows you down too much, and I kept getting killed before I could even fire off a shot. But then when I switched off the adaptive triggers, things improved a lot. Although I've been enjoying the beta, there are a few things that I really didn't like. To start with, it's missing things from previous games in the series that they shouldn't have removed. Every Gears multiplayer has been an evolution to, you know, the previous game. I didn't like the multiplayer in the first game, but in Gears 2 they added being able to take meat shields from downed enemies. You could tag them with a grenade and kick them into their teammates. You could plant grenades on the walls and floors, and they would explode when anyone walked into them. They also added chainsaw duels, and I think that was the game that added the mantle kick as well. In Gears 3, they added more brutal executions. I remember when playing as Locust, you could rip a cog's arm off and beat them to death with it. So when I started playing the beta, I was expecting to see some of these things, but they were all gone. There's no meat shielding, you can't plant grenades, which is actually the first thing I tried to do. The mantle kick is gone. Chainsawing still feels great, but other executions are disappointing. You used to be able to change executions for each weapon that you use. So, I mean, I found a decapitation execution when using the retro lancer, but the Nasher and stub pistol, it just resulted in a curb stomp. And, you know, speaking of weapons, the lancer feels a bit weaker than before. Look, the Nasher has always been the Gears player's favorite weapon in multiplayer, because at mid-range it will take your opponent down, and at close range it will turn them into chunks. But during the Xbox 360 days, I had a lot of people calling me the Lancer noob. And this is because I was getting so many kills just with the Lancer. Now it feels like I have to almost, you know, unload a full clip just to take them down, unless they're also taking damage from someone else. The retro lancer takes them down much quicker, like it always does, but the recoil is crazy on that weapon, like it has been since Gears 3. You know, that was the trade-off. So every match just turns into a Nasher battle. They need to balance it out some more, especially if they're trying to attract new players, because people are just going to get annoyed with constant shotgun battles in every match. Grenades also feel like they have reduced their blast radius. I used to get so many kills with grenades in Gears that when I started to not get kills in the beta with them, it just fell off. Maybe it's just me, but they definitely feel like unless the grenade lands by their feet, I'm not going to get a kill. Same goes for incendiary grenades, which are supposed to be an instant kill for anyone caught by them. In one match, I threw them down at 2 players. One got killed, but the other one just kept on coming. And this would have killed them both in previous games. If the whole group was together, it would have given me a team wipe. There's definitely a lot of balancing that needs to be done, not just before launch, but, you know, before the open beta. The goal with the movement changes they made was to attract new players, but those new players are going to be put off when they realize that multiplayer is just going to be a shotgun battle. People get pissed off when you use a shotgun in Call of Duty. Do they really think that they're going to be happy with 4 matches of just shotgun battles? Like I said at the beginning of the video, I have mostly been enjoying this beta, but it feels like they took 1 step forward with the movement and then 2 steps back with everything else. I don't think anything that I mentioned can't be added to the game later, but the most important thing to deal with before the open beta is weapon balancing. There also appears to be some input lag. There were definitely times when I knew I fired first and still got killed. In one match, I even shot a dude in the face after doing the active reload with the Nasher, which, if you don't know, the active reload makes your shots more powerful. Dude just ate it and then just killed me with a quick shot. I didn't play much of the Horde mode, but I'll be playing it, you know, during the second weekend. I wasn't too sure about what I did play though, but there are multiple modes and I want to try them properly. I want to try them all properly before I speak on them. I definitely will be buying E-Day when it launches, but unless they make some changes to the weapon balancing, I doubt that I'll be buying the premium edition for the early access. I don't really want to pay an extra £20 just to take part in national battles a week early. I definitely recommend trying the open beta though when it launches, and, you know, find out for yourself. Right, that's the end of the video. If you made it this far, please click the like button. And if you're new to the channel, please click the subscribe button and check out some of my other content. Also consider becoming a member where you'll get early access to some of my videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.